The low hum of the server room was the closest thing I had to a lullaby. For 12 years, it was the sound of my life's work, the digital heartbeat of CipherWorks, the web development agency I had built from nothing. On Friday evening, that hum was drowned out by the synthetic beat of a pop song I didn't recognize echoing through the cavernous, rented out event space. My brother Ethan stood on a brightly lit stage, his smile as wide and insincere as the venture capitalists he was trying to impress. And with the acquisition of CipherWorks, he announced, his voice booming through the speakers, we are poised to become the industry leader. I am proud to introduce you to the future. Eon Dynamics? The champagne flute in my hand felt suddenly heavy, cold. My own company's name spoken like a footnote in the story of his success. The room erupted in polite applause. My mother, Eleanor, caught my eye from the front row and gave me a sharp, warning glance that said, play along. My father, Richard, just stared at his shoes, a masterclass in passive complicity he had perfected over a lifetime. My feet felt rooted to the polished concrete floor. Acquisition? The word was a foreign object, sharp and indigestible. 2 months ago, they had come to me with a story steeped in desperation. Ethan's latest venture was on the verge of collapse, but he had a whale on the line, an investor who could change everything. The only catch? The investor was spooked by Ethan's string of failed startups. He just needs to see stability, Liam. My mother had pleaded, her hand gripping my arm. If we can just merge your company with his on paper. Temporarily, it makes his portfolio look robust. Once the funding comes through, we dissolve it. It's just paperwork to save your brother. I had resisted. CipherWorks wasn't just a business. It was my sanctuary. It was the 12-hour days fueled by coffee and code, the thrill of launching a flawless site for a grateful client, the quiet pride of mentoring my small, brilliant team. It was the $250,000 I'd painstakingly saved and reinvested, every penny earned through skill and sweat. But the pressure was a coordinated familial assault. My father spoke of family unity. My mother spoke of duty. Ethan spoke of shared future, a dynasty we could build together. In the end, worn down by a lifetime of seeking an approval that was always just out of reach, I had relented. I signed a sheaf of documents their lawyer had drawn up, my own lawyer on vacation, their assurances of temporary and formality ringing in my ears. Now, standing under the obnoxious purple uplighting of Ethan's launch party, I was the formality, an inconvenient detail to be glossed over. What the hell was that? I managed to hiss when my family cornered me near the catering table. My voice was a stranger's, tight and brittle. Lower your voice, Eleanor commanded, her smile never faltering for the benefit of passers-by. We're celebrating your brother's success. You should be proud. My brother's success? He just announced he acquired my company. The company I built. Oh, Liam, don't be so dramatic, Ethan scoffed, grabbing a mini quiche. It's a strategic rebranding. Eon Dynamics sounds so much more powerful than whatever you called it. This is bigger than you now. It's for the family. The deed is in my name, I said, the words a hollow echo of a truth that no longer seemed to matter. The business registration, the clients, the intellectual property it's all mine. Paperwork can be changed, my mother said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. You're young, brilliant. You can start another little company anytime. Ethan has a family to think about. He needs this win. My gaze drifted to the stage where a massive screen displayed the new Eon Dynamics logo. It was a cheap, corporate-looking perversion of the elegant, clever logo I'd designed myself. They hadn't just stolen my company. They had vandalized it. The room began to spin. The faces of investors, journalists, and Ethan's sycophantic friends blurred into a meaningless swirl. I stumbled back, shaking my head, the betrayal of physical weight pressing down on my chest. I turned and walked out, leaving the sound of their laughter and the taste of ashes in my mouth. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was my best friend Chloe. The text read, "So, how's the party? Do I need to come rescue you from your family?" I collapsed onto a bench in the chilly night air, the city lights a blur through unshed tears, and typed back a single, desperate word: yes. The next morning, Chloe's apartment smelled of strong coffee and righteous fury. She sat opposite me at her small kitchen table, her laptop open, her expression grim. "They can't just do that, Liam," she said, pushing a mug toward me. "A business isn't a sweater you can just borrow. There are legal structures, AO contracts." "I signed something," I admitted, the memory making my stomach churn. "They called it a memorandum of understanding for a strategic alliance. They said it was temporary." "Let me see it," she demanded. My heart sank. "It's in my office." Or what was my office? Chloe's jaw tightened. "Okay. Plan A. You're going to go to your office, tell them you're collecting your personal items, and you're going to find that document. Photograph every single page. Do you understand? The thought of facing them again made me feel ill, but Chloe's resolve was contagious. She was a project manager for a large construction firm, and she treated every crisis like a blueprint with a problem to be solved. Walking into the CipherWorks office was surreal. The familiar, comfortable space was already being transformed, and the warm, collaborative atmosphere was gone, replaced by a tense corporate chill. My father was there, overseeing the removal of my carefully curated art prints from the walls. "Liam," he said, his voice laced with a pained, placating tone, "your mother is very upset. You caused quite a scene last night." "I caused a scene?" I shot back, my voice louder than I intended. "Dad, they stole my company." "It's not stealing when it's family," he mumbled, turning away to instruct the movers. "We're all on the same team." While he was distracted, I slipped into my old office. My personal photos were already gone from my desk, replaced by a framed picture of Ethan. Bile rose in my throat. I went to my filing cabinet. The lock, which I'd always kept secured, was broken. Inside, I found the folder. Eon Dynamics, Strategic Alliance. My hands trembled as I spread the documents on the floor. The memorandum of understanding I remembered signing was on top, but underneath it was a second document, one I had never seen before, an irrevocable asset transfer and acquisition agreement. My signature was at the bottom, a near-perfect forgery, but the loop on my L was too flamboyant, the cross on my M too soft. It was my mother's handwriting, disguised as mine. She had been forging my signature on school permission slips for years. Tucked behind it was an even more damning document, a backdated resolution from a supposed board meeting. CipherWorks had no board. It was a sole proprietorship, unanimously voting to transfer all assets to Eon Dynamics. The document was notarized. I knew the notary. She was Ethan's college girlfriend. A cold, methodical calm settled over me. The same focus I got when debugging a critical piece of code. I pulled out my phone and my breath held tight in my chest, photographed every page, every signature, every damning word. As I slid the folder back, I heard footsteps. I quickly pocketed my phone and grabbed a box of personal books just as Ethan strode in. "Taking a few souvenirs?" he asked, a smug grin on his face. "Don't worry, I'll have a check cut for your, what would you call it? Severance?" "This isn't over, Ethan," I said, my voice low and steady. He laughed. "Liam, it was over the moment you signed those papers. You're a great coder, bro, but you've got no head for business. You should thank me. I'm taking your little hobby and turning it into an empire." That night, Chloe introduced me to her friend, Marcus Thorne, a lawyer with eyes as sharp as his tailored suit. We sat in his quiet, book-lined office long after dark, the photos I'd taken displayed on a large monitor. "This is brazen," Marcus said, his voice a low hum of professional outrage. "This isn't just a civil dispute, Liam. This is textbook fraud. The forgery, the fraudulent notarization, these are criminal offenses." The word criminal hung in the air. As much as I hated what they'd done, the thought of my family, my own mother, facing jail time was horrifying. "What are my options?" I asked. First thing tomorrow, we file for an immediate injunction to freeze all assets of both CipherWorks and Eon Dynamics, Marcus explained. We stop your brother from running your company into the ground, selling your IP, or taking on debt in your company's name. Second, we file a suit to nullify the transfer based on fraud. We will get your company back. He paused, his gaze intense. But you need to be prepared. They will not make this easy. They will get personal. He was right. The moment they were served with the injunction, the war began. The first salvo was a phone call from my mother. Her voice, stripped of its usual honeyed manipulation, was venomous. You are trying to ruin your brother's life, she spat, after everything we've done for you. We gave you everything, and this is how you repay us, by trying to send your own family to jail? You forged my name, Mom. You lied to me and stole my life's work. It was a business decision, something you would never understand. We are filing a countersuit for defamation and emotional distress. You will be left with nothing. The countersuit was real. A piece of legal fiction designed to bleed me dry. Then came the attacks on my reputation. Ethan, using the client list he'd stolen, began emailing my clients, claiming I'd had a mental breakdown and was making erratic and baseless claims. He offered them a steep discount to sign new contracts with Eon Dynamics. My father, the gentle peacemaker, became a tool of emotional blackmail. He would leave me pleading voicemails. Liam, please, your mother hasn't slept in days. Her blood pressure is dangerously high. Is this worth killing your own mother over? They went public. My mother posted a long, rambling, tear-soaked essay on Facebook about the heartbreak of having a troubled and ungrateful son who was trying to sabotage his successful brother out of jealousy. The post was accompanied by a carefully selected childhood photo of her hugging a beaming Ethan while I stood in the background, half out of frame. The public humiliation was suffocating. Whispers started among old family friends. I felt like I was drowning in their lies. But just as Marcus predicted, they had miscalculated. They thought I was alone. My two senior developers, Maya and Ben, who had been with me for years, called me. We quit today, Liam, Maya said. Ethan tried to get us to sign new contracts, but we told him where to stick them. CipherWorks is you. Whatever you do next, we're with you. Then my clients started fighting back. David Chen, the CEO of a tech startup whose entire platform I had built, not only sent Ethan a blistering email refusing to move to Eon Dynamics, but he also forwarded me the entire exchange and offered to write a sworn affidavit about my professionalism and integrity. One by one, my best clients did the same, creating a firewall of support around me. Chloe was my rock. She helped me set up a temporary workspace in her spare room, organized my evidence into a meticulous trial-ready binder, and fielded my panicked late-night calls. They're trying to make you feel small and alone, Liam, she told me one night as we ordered takeout. That's how they've always controlled you. But you're not small and you're not alone. The turning point came from an unexpected source. A man named Alex reached out to me on LinkedIn. He was one of Ethan's former partners from a failed venture 3 years ago. Her story sounds familiar, his message read. I think we should talk. We met for coffee. Alex, a man with tired eyes and a cynical smile, laid out a story almost identical to mine. A temporary partnership, a forged signature, a stolen idea. He had been too broke and beaten down to fight back then. I still have the original documents he had me sign, and the forged ones his lawyer sent me later, Alex said, sliding a folder across the table. He used the same notary. If you can use this to stop him, it's yours. When I showed the folder to Marcus, a slow, predatory smile spread across his face. This is no longer just fraud, he said. This is a pattern of racketeering. Your brother didn't just make a mistake. He's a predator. And now we have the proof to put him in a cage. Armed with Alex's evidence, Marcus amended the lawsuit. The pressure on my family intensified. The court granted our injunction, freezing all of Eon Dynamics' accounts. Ethan couldn't make payroll. The empire he'd boasted about was grinding to a halt before it had even begun. That's when they showed up at my apartment. It was a Wednesday morning. The pounding on my door was frantic. I opened it to find all three of them, their faces a mixture of fury and panic. "You have to drop this," my mother hissed, pushing past me into my living room. "Alex is a liar. You are siding with a stranger against your own blood." The prosecutor's office called our lawyer. My father stammered, his face pale. "They're opening an investigation into Ethan." Into all of us. Ethan, for the first time, looked genuinely scared. His usual arrogance had evaporated, replaced by a desperate, cornered animal fear. "You can't let this happen, Liam." They're talking about prison time. Prison. Well, do you know what they do to people like me in there? I let them talk. I listened to the threats, the pleas, the blame shifting, the gaslighting. They were a three-person orchestra of toxicity, each playing their familiar part, but the music no longer affected me. I was just an observer now, watching the performance from a distance. When they finally ran out of steam, I walked over to my desk and picked up a single piece of paper. I placed it on the coffee table in front of them. "This is a settlement agreement," I said, my voice calm and clear. "You will sign it." Today, my father picked it up, his hands trembling. He read the terms aloud. "Full unconditional return of all CipherWorks assets, intellectual property, and client lists to Liam Foster. All legal fees incurred by Liam Foster to be paid in full. A permanent, legally binding no-contact order." His voice cracked on the last line. "This is ridiculous," my mother shrieked. "You are trying to erase us." "No," I said, looking her directly in the eye. "I'm giving you a gift. This agreement contains one other clause. If you sign it and adhere to every single term, I will instruct Marcus to deliver all of our evidence of your criminal activities to you, and not to the district attorney. I will not press charges." A flicker of relief in her eyes was all the confirmation I needed. She knew she was guilty. "And what about me?" Ethan whined. "My company is frozen. My investors are pulling out. You've ruined me." "You ruined yourself, Ethan," I replied, my voice devoid of malice or pity. It was simply a statement of fact. "You built your empire on a foundation of lies. It was always going to collapse, one by one," they signed. My father's signature was shaky. Ethan's was a resentful scrawl. My mother's was sharp and angry, the pen tearing slightly at the paper. As soon as they were done, I opened the door. "Leave," I said. It wasn't a request. When they were gone, a profound silence filled the apartment. I stood there for a long time, the signed agreement in my hand. Then, for the first time in months, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. It wasn't the thrill of victory. It was the quiet, solid feeling of freedom. 6 months later, I stood in a bright, airy new office space. The scent of fresh paint still lingering in the air. The words on the glass door didn't say CipherWorks or Eon Dynamics. They said Trellis Digital. A new name for a new beginning. Maya and Ben were back, setting up their new workstations. David Chen, my first and most loyal client, was there, shaking my hand. Chloe was hanging a framed photo on the wall, a picture of all of us, my chosen family, celebrating the day the settlement was finalized. I didn't just get my company back. I had let it go. I sold the CipherWorks name and assets to a competitor, using the money, along with the legal fees my family was forced to pay, to start over. I wanted nothing that they had touched. My phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. I opened it to see a picture of a newborn baby, my new nephew. The message was from my mother. "His name is Richard, after your father. Don't you want to meet your family?" I looked at the picture of the innocent child, a new pawn in their endless game. I felt a pang, not of anger, but of a distant clinical sadness. As I thought about the man I used to be, who would have seen that picture as an olive branch, an opportunity to rebuild, but I wasn't that man anymore. I had been dismantled down to my foundations and had been forced to rebuild myself with stronger materials, integrity, self-respect, boundaries. I deleted the message without replying. I walked over to the large window of my new office and looked out at the city, my city. I had lost the family I was born into, but in doing so, I had finally found my own. The low, steady hum of the new servers in the other room was the sound of my future. And it was a future I was building, this time for myself.